The early 2000s was a very specific time for comedy. This like subgenre of raunchy comedy that were like specifically drug based became a thing. Like Dude, Where's My Car? Or Harold and Kumar Go to White Castle. Like obviously drugs were always around, but it was something different than it was in like the 70s, right? When drugs like really started to pop off, or the 60s or 70s. It was about like psychedelics and stuff. Drugs in like the 2000s was just like about like just like kind of chilling and being a fucking idiot. And we got a lot of movies about that. And those kind of disappeared over the years. This movie here, Pizza Movie, seems like a attempt at least to bring back those types of comedies from the early 2000s.
Is it an attempt to be one of those movies, or is it an attempt to parody those movies?
That's a good question. I don't really know, but let's get into it. Two college students and their roommates, and like they are together for a night, and one of them's looking, the anxious one's looking for like, he just wants a quiet night, and the other one's like, nah, I gotta drink and freak, I gotta turn my brain off, I want to around. And an act of fate, a 10-year-old mint tin of
mint,
some sort of mysterious drug falls out of their ceiling that was stashed there by a previous student years ago. We see like a little thing in the beginning of the movie, and they decide to take the drug, and a lot of wacky shenanigans happen. It's obviously a psychological drug, psychedelic, yeah. And we get it leads to some pretty interesting stuff.
I loved some of this movie, and I was bored with some of this movie just because how ridiculous, I don't know, it was. I don't think it captured the nostalgia that I feel for like those types of movies. Dude, Where's My Car was hilarious. I laughed some during this movie, but I was not hysterical like I was with Harold and Kumar or Dude, Where's My Car. Some of the bits with them getting high were pretty good. The can't swear was pretty hilarious. Can't use bad words or whatever.
That was funny.
I wanted to love this movie, but in the end, it was just okay for me.
We had a totally different experience with this.
Mm-hmm.
I really love this movie. Like,
wow,
way more than I expected to. Some of my favorite movies are of this genre from back in the day. And, you could sit here and like name drop a lot of movies that kind of fit this mold. But this one fits very firmly into that, like, Dude, Where's My Car?
Adventure
Harold
movies,
and Kumar lane.
Yeah.
This is more Harold and Kumar than anything. So during the movie, we find out that these kids, they look up the drug that they took, and they find a video from the creator of the drug explaining like there's different stages of the drug, and to prevent the last stage, which is the worst stage, you have to eat pizza because the ingredients in pizza sort of neutralizes like the most extreme effects of this psychedelic, which is an interesting premise. But again, like, who cares about the rules or the premise or any of that stuff? You're not watching the movie for that. You're watching it because of the funny shenanigans that take place. I thought the movie was very, very funny. I was a little bit worried when it started out. That whole beginning that introduces you to the two characters, I was like, this isn't really that funny. And it did feel like it was a little bit forced.
The character stereotypes, I mean, you're going to get that in these types of movies, but some of them were just like, ooh, what is this guy even about? Like, I don't.
Well, that's what's funny about it.
So we're farting on his head.
Yeah, so the movie like plays off of that. Like, that wasn't like obviously not a real written character. Like that's a joke, right? Like, it's not meant to be taken seriously. There's no other way for me to explain it. It's either you like it or you don't. Like, I can't even sit here and be like, no, like, you just missed the point of what that character. No,
yeah,
it's either you find it funny or you don't.
Right.
And I didn't find everything in this movie funny. I saw some reviews, people talking like, oh, this movie felt like it was trying to force jokes and things. I didn't feel that at all. I actually laughed like a lot in this movie. I thought the writing was pretty snappy at a lot, especially the dialogue.
The dialogue was decent, I guess, because it was the witty rapport between some of them, but sometimes the dialogue wasn't that great.
There is this whole little like subplot of the RAs that work for this college. They frame this group of RAs like Nazi Gestapo, but
Mhm.
specifically from Inglorious Bastards. So much so that
Yeah.
they recreate that scene where he
Mm.
is in the house and the people are hiding in the floor, and like he just slowly breaks the guy down with just conversation. He's like,
Yeah.
"You are hiding people, are you not?" Like they do that scene. It was so funny to me.
Yeah. No, that was good.
Because the dude's just sitting there like
Yeah.
terrified, but also high out of
Yeah,
his mind.
there's
Yeah, I don't know. I thought the writing was pretty smart and funny. Like when I say smart, I don't mean like smart like, oh wow, this is like some next level deep comedy. I'm just talking like smart in that it's like witty banter between people. And that's what I always appreciate.
there was some really clever writing, but I just think some of the clever writing was washed away by some of the ridiculous. I thought it was too over the top for this, for the type of movie I guess I'm used to. Like those old 90s and 2000s get high adventure road trip type movies aren't as absurd. Even if you go back to the Tom Green movies.
Sure they are. Dude, Where's My Car is one of the most absurd movies ever.
I don't. It's not as absurd as this. I think this.
You don't think so? Really? Wow.
No, not all the shticks got to me. I guess is what I'm saying. Some of them got to me, and I thought were hilarious. Some of the writing was clever, but not all of them. I was just like, man, that's okay.
I think that's fair. I don't agree with you at all about Dude, Where's My Car? I think that's one of the most ridiculous movies like of all time. And there's a very fine line in this genre of comedy where you have on one end of the spectrum you have Dude, Where's My Car, and where this movie fits, I think, Pizza Movie,
Mm-hmm.
which is like the ridiculous, like completely non-believable, never happening, reality breaking type of comedy that's just funny to be funny. And then you have the opposite end of the spectrum with like Pineapple Express, I would say.
Sure.
Also, like not believable, will probably never happen, but more in the realm of reality. Right?
Right. Yeah.
And so, and then you have like varying degrees of that. Like I would say a lot of the Jay and Silent
Harold
Bob
and
movies
Kumar.
probably fit into this spectrum somewhere, like in the middle a
Sure.
little bit.
Yeah.
Different. But this movie definitely firmly sits on the end of the spectrum where it is ridiculous, not within the realm of reality. And I think that's good from time to time. That and I think it did it really well. Like and I think it did it so well that a lot of the time I was watching this, it didn't feel like a movie that was made in 2026. It felt like a movie that was literally made in the 2000s, like the early 2000s. Aside from some of the technology that pops up in this movie, there are some like 2026 or now specific things that this movie uses, but otherwise it felt like it was made in the early 2000s. Like so much so that like I got this movie like gave me like a wave of nostalgia a little bit, because you don't see movies like this anymore. You don't see movies that take place in college dorms anymore. You don't.
Yeah. No, it was a nice ode, certainly, and they don't do it.
There used to be a time where like almost every comedy was like a teen comedy. Took place in a high school or a college or whatever, and like I never went to college, and I certainly didn't dorm, right? So watching movies like this back in the day almost like gave me an experience that I never had of like what it's like to like live in a dorm and like and like do those things. And this movie made me like feel like that again. It was pretty interesting, right? It just had that like old school feel, the Van Wilder feel. And I did find the movie genuinely funny. Like aside from like the nostalgia stuff, I laughed a lot in this movie. And that's the thing about this movie. I think that's my ultimate takeaway is that like it's okay to like a movie that's not good or a movie that's silly and stupid. And
Sure.
I probably will never rewatch it. And I think that's where I do agree with you. So what are some of the things that you like the most about it though?
The premise behind, oh, we found a drug. Oh, this drug is crazy. Oh, there's several phases to this drug unless we eat the pizza. I thought some of the effects of the drug were brilliant. And then some of the effects, I didn't find them as funny. So some of those bits, I just kind of felt a little bit bored with, I guess, is what, because you kind of felt how you knew in the movie was going to progress. They're going to go through all these phases and it's going to be funny. And then like, but there again, there's clever writing. There's clever, like giving the dude all the drugs so that he sees, he's like, wait a minute, I'm in a movie. My character is even that well drawn out, like brilliant.
You see the horrific nature of reality.
Yeah. That was brilliant writing, but I don't know. Just
what was the genre of music that metal band played? It was like circus something. I don't even know.
Yeah.
And she's playing. Her instrument was
the
like
human. Yeah,
like it was torturing a human and his extracted screams. Like I think I don't know how you could watch this movie and not laugh. Like there were a lot of people that were like, this movie was trying too hard. It's like, what do you grow up?
It feels like it is at times, but
that's
again, there's some brilliance in it. But yeah, but if you're trying to force the joke, it can miss. If it feels like you're trying to force the joke, it can miss. And I can see why people would feel that about certain parts of this movie, because I did feel that. Not all of it. And some people think this whole movie hits, Dan. Some people might think this is a 10 out of 10, and you're wrong about thinking it's not rewatchable.
I never felt the jokes were forced in a way that seems like hacky, right? Where it's like, that was trying to be funny and it wasn't. I do think some of the things didn't really land as hard. And where I do agree with you is that this lacks something of whatever trait those older movies similar to this had that made them iconic. This doesn't have those things. I don't know that I could quite put my finger on what those are, but I probably won't ever rewatch this movie. Not because I didn't enjoy it, not because it's not funny. I did find it funny. It just doesn't have those iconic moments that you will remember forever. That's why you rewatch movies like this. I've seen Van Wilder dozens of times in my life.
Why?
Because it's such a funny movie, and I think it's funny. It's got a lot of one-liners. It's got a lot of like quips and stuff that I'll remember. Write that down. I still say that in my real life.
I do too, man. I do too.
Like, write that down. And it's why I like Ryan Reynolds, to be honest. That's the movie that introduced me to him. A lot of people don't like Ryan Reynolds. They think his shtick is like fucking annoying. I think he's hilarious.
Van Wilder's, he makes him the goat. Yeah.
Dude, Where's My Car? Again, another movie. You remember moments from that. Harold and Kumar made, what's his name, an icon. The fuck is Doogie Howser? What the fuck is his name?
He was already an icon. He said him by his iconic name.
I know he was, but this movie,
it brought him back.
It brought him back into the forefront, and then he was in How I Met Your Mother. Neil Patrick Harris.
Neil, yeah.
And so, like, this movie did lack some of those more iconic moments. That would be my one real negative thing to say about this movie, and it's not the movie's fault. It's just, it is what it is. Like, not every movie's going to be an iconic movie. You know what I mean?
It could be a chemistry thing because I don't know.
I thought their chemistry was pretty good.
Well, between the groups and sometimes intergroup, there was good chemistry. But when you have like a psychedelic, like Fear and Loathing is a great example of like being off your mind and still trying to react in the real world and going to and fro.
Yeah.
Where this one, like the main protagonists were experiencing something that nobody really else was seeing or experiencing. Right. So there was a disconnect between what everybody else is seeing and what they're seeing. And that, I mean, maybe causes a bit of...
I honestly thought that was really well done too. That was probably the smartest thing this movie did, which I really enjoyed, where throughout the movie, they are on psychedelics, like you just said, and you're experiencing things as they're experiencing them. And the line between reality and what they're experiencing is blurred in a very silly sense. There's nothing deep to it. It's just like, you don't really know what's going on, what's a hallucination or what's blurred reality. And at the end of the movie, they remove the veil between what they're seeing and what everybody else around them is seeing.
This is these pair of comedians, Saturday Night Live writers. Sometimes I feel like when I watch a movie, I'm like, the guys were on psychedelics when they wrote this, and
probably were.
it's more intended for you to be on psychedelics while you watch it.
You would probably have a way better time watching this if you were like high as shit on like, you know, even just smoking weed.
Or a completely terrible time if you're having a bad trip.
Maybe.
Shut up.
Yeah, shout out to those of you having bad trips.
While watching this movie. But yeah, I don't know. So I was like, I was like, man, I should really, this would probably hit different. I'd probably be laughing more. Like it felt like one of those intended to be on while you're watching it.
Yeah, maybe. But I wasn't on anything except for leftover Taco Bell, and I still enjoyed it. And yeah, I probably won't ever watch it again, but that's okay. And I think that there is for many years now, there's been a severe lack of movies like this over the course of the last 10, probably 15 years of like the industry being geared towards like a very specific thing. We don't get a lot of variety in movies anymore. Comedy movies, I think specifically, were hit hard by this. We don't get a lot of comedies anymore, really. Like, and we don't, and when we do get comedies, they're not like this. Even like, you know, in like the 2010s, like 2010 to like 2015, we had a lot of like Seth Rogen-esque comedies, and like those were great, but they weren't like this. I would love to see this subgenre of movie make a comeback. I think I miss them personally, and I think we just need more variety. You know, variety is the spice of life, as they say. I enjoyed this more than I thought it would. I actually, yeah, I would recommend it. I think this is a love it or hate it kind of movie, though. So if you do watch it, don't think you're gonna like, oh man, this is gonna blow me away. You probably won't. But
even if you hate it, you're probably gonna laugh a couple of times because there's there's
like objectively funny shit going on. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it has a pretty lukewarm rating, which you would expect for something like this. On IMDb, it has a 5.9.
Yeah.
For me personally, I'm going to bump this up. This is a very personal to me rating. Just keep that in mind. I would give this an 8. I found it. I laughed a lot during this movie. Like I was laughing more than I wasn't laughing. And so for that, that's an 8 for me.
No, I'm going to leave it right where it's at. I think 6 is good because I'm going to forget about it. I'll probably forget what score I gave it to.
No, that's a fair rating. I think 6 is perfectly fair for this. Like I said, I was tickled by this movie. I laughed a lot, so I have to bump it up. But yeah,
I wanted to laugh a lot more. I was disappointed that I didn't laugh a lot more. I guess that's probably why.
Watch it again and smoke weed first.
Yeah, well, I stay high.
Oh, okay. Well, there you go. Maybe watch it sober.
Yeah, there we go. We'll try that.